Hello everyone. My topic today is a little more frivolous. It's music, which is something I really love, and on the screen is a bunch of quotes about music that I like. So there's Bob Marley's quote, "One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain." Shakespeare, "If music be the food of love, play on." And one of my favorites, from Harry Potter, "Ah, music, a magic beyond all we do here." And the reason why I have all these quotes on the screen is that the sources of these quotes, they're people from all walks of life, and yet all of them seem to find something that they can relate to in music. And it goes to show that music is universal. Maybe music can really convey emotion no matter where you're from. So a little bit about me. So my mom picked out a picture of me from when I was 11 on the left. So that's me next to a piano, and then on the right is me with my violin, which is on stage with me. So I started playing piano when I was 5. I was always really fascinated by music and my instruments, and so my parents got me started early. And then when I was 9, I started playing the violin through school. They said, pick, singing, trumpet, or violin, and I picked violin. And all my life it's been very structured. I had private lessons, I played in the school orchestra, a teacher told me what to play, how to play it, and I would just do it. And it was like that all the way until I got up to college. And not that structure is a bad thing, but when I got to college, it was a fork in the road where I could either continue this structure and I could keep having other people choose my songs for me and other people telling me, how to play them, or I could do what I wanted to do with music and be a lot more flexible with it. And so I tried out the flexible route, and as I was doing that, I realized I had a lot of questions about music. Why do I like it so much? Why do my friends like it so much? Why does everyone seem to like music, even though it doesn't serve any purpose, really? It doesn't make us any better at survival or anything of that sort. So here are some fundamental questions I had about music. Where did music come from? Why is something that has no apparent use so universal to all of us? Is music actually universal? Do animals have it too? And why do certain songs make you feel certain emotions? And so while I was trying to find the answers to these problems, I did some research, and in terms of where music came from, I found that animals have music too, and specifically humpback whales have mating songs. And if you've never heard the song of a humpback whale mating, here you go. Yeah, so as you can see, it's pretty distinctively a song, and it's pretty amazing when you think about the fact that this is like a whale, like making these sounds. And this is evidence that maybe music is an evolutionary thing, that animals with better musical ability are better at reproducing, they're better at mating, so they pass on their genes for musical ability. But another thing I found was that music could be related to our use of language. And so there's this chart on the screen. On the y-axis is frequency, so just how high or low the pitch is. And as you can see, A and C are alternating high and low pitches. So, high, low, high, high, low, high. And when there are pauses between the pitches, we hear these pitches as coming from one source. That's going high, then low, then high. But B shows when the pitches alternate quickly. And when this happens, our minds, instead of hearing one pitch that's, you know, going up and down and up and down, our minds actually split them into two sources. One source going, you know, high pitch, high pitch, high pitch, high pitch, and one source doing all the low pitches. And so I'll let you hear that. Yeah, so hopefully you heard, like, when you heard the, you know, quickly alternating pitches, your mind definitely did something different, and you kind of heard just like a high, 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 high. And this could be because we have the ability to distinguish two voices, and so we need this capability. You know, when two people are talking behind us, we need to be able to tell that those are two different people talking, depending on how high or low their voices are. So is music universal? One thing I found was a study done on the Mofa tribe in North Cameroon. So this, you know, really secluded tribe, no exposure to Western media. And for this study, they specifically picked tribe members who had never been inside a church, which would be their only form of exposure to Western music. And so here's this chart. On the y-axis is recognition rate, and on the x-axis it says happy, sad, or scared. And these three categories are the types of music that they played for these listeners. So they played Western music that was happy, sad, or scared, and they did this for both Mofa listeners and for German listeners. German listeners are in purple and Mofa listeners are in green. As you can see, the German listeners, of course, recognize their own Western music as happy, sad, or scared, but you'll notice that the Mofa listeners who have never heard this music before also can identify happy, sad, or scared. And the dotted black line is at 33.3%, which is where you would expect it to be if the Mofa tribe members just randomly guessed if the music was happy, sad, or scared. And so it seems like this emotion in music is universal regardless of where you came from. Another thing that was interesting about this study was that neither Mofa tribe members nor Western listeners liked dissonant music. So for those of you who don't know what dissonant music is, I have a sample for you. So it's going to start out by playing consonant music. So this is consonant. This is dissonant. Yeah, you can fade it out. It's awful. It's like not nice to listen to at all. And what this chart shows is on the y-axis there's a likability rating. So anything above the black line means that the listeners liked it, and anything below the black line means that the listeners disliked it. And so the legend shows, 4 different colors, and these are 4 samples of music that were played for both Mofa listeners and Western listeners. So the Mofa tribe members have their own music that can either be consonant or dissonant. So obviously the Mofa listeners, prefer consonant music of their own music, and they dislike their own dissonant music, but they can also tell the difference between consonant and dissonant Western music. Likewise, Western listeners prefer consonant music of their own, as well as consonant Mofa music, which they haven't heard before. And they also just generally dislike dissonant music, as you all heard. It's not very fun. And it just looks like Mofa listeners are generally less picky when it comes to music. And another interesting thing is that squirrel monkeys, so they're found in Central America, they can also distinguish between consonant and dissonant music. The only difference is that these squirrel monkeys don't have a preference. They just listen to the music and they can tell that they're different, but it's not like they like one over the other. Okay, so to sum up all this evidence that I read through, music could have been an adaptation, it could have helped us survive better. Or it could have been an exaptation where we develop the ability for music because we need it for language. Or it could have been a cultural creation, and this is shown by the squirrel monkeys having no preference. So it's possible that the only reason why we dislike dissonant music is because our peers dislike it, or your parents dislike it. So to get into things that are more personal to me, how I found how to express emotion through music, I wanted to talk about the features of music that make it happy or sad. So emotion is linked to both pitch, and pitch is how high or low the note is, and tempo is how fast or slow the music is. And it's possible that the reason why we link pitch and tempo to emotion is because of the way we talk. So if I talk fast, really loud, and really excited, it sounds like I have something really exciting to tell you. But if I talk slowly and softly, it sounds like I'm home asleep. So to show this through music, I'm going to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star first quickly in a major key, and then slowly in a minor key, and hopefully you'll hear the difference. Okay, so this is major key quickly. Feel familiar? So, as you can see, the second one, all I did was change the key and how quickly I play the music, and it doesn't sound at all like the original song we know. So, another thing that conveys emotion in music is something called the leading tone, and the leading tone is the seventh note of a scale. So a scale is a list of ascending notes, and it's depicted on the screen, and the seventh note is circled. But I'm also going to play it for you so you can see what I mean by when I say it feels like it needs a resolution. So I'm going to play a scale and then hold the seventh note. And so hopefully you saw that when I hit the seventh note, you felt like it wasn't done. Like you knew I had one more note to go. And a possibility for where this came from is, when we ask questions to each other, our voices go up at the ends, and it feels like, you expect an answer. And so that could be why the leading tone makes us feel like the song isn't over. And lastly, dissonance. So we've heard about dissonance already, but the reason why dissonant music sounds so awful is because the frequencies of the notes are not scalar multiples of each other. So on the screen, there's a chord, and as you can see, they are scalar multiples of each other, 110, 220, 330, 440, and it sounds like a nice chord. But when the frequencies are not scalar multiples of each other, then you get that awful sound that you heard earlier. It kind of sets your teeth on edge and makes you feel really uncomfortable. So I wanted to do an activity to see if you guys could feel for yourself what dissonance resolving into consonance feels like. And so if I could just divide the room in half, say the white thing at the back, like the clock. And so just the left side and the right side. And so what I want to do is, I'll tell you the general overview of it, and then we'll have a practice run. So I want my left, so this side, to sing a particular note. And I will give you the note on the violin, and just as best as you can, just, you know, kind of hum it or go ah. And then I want the right side of my right to sing a note that's higher than their note, and I'll also give you that note. And then I'm going to start with my arms apart, and as I bring my arms together, I want the right side to match the note of the left side. And hopefully you'll be able to tell like the exact instant when everything like meshes together. Is that a question?
Yeah, do you want it to go down like a major scale, or like, do you want the grade?
I was thinking this side, well, I'll give a pitch and then this side would sing a major second above it, and then go down to the same note. Yeah, but I'll give you the pitches. Okay, so for my left side, if you guys could just try like practice runs singing this note. Okay, and then for the other side, if you guys could sing a note above it, I will also give you that note. And this is just like sing the note just to practice and then stop. And then everyone will go together.
So right side. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll try it out. If the left side could sing their note first. And then this side start. And then we slowly go down. Hit this note. Okay, I think it kind of worked. Hopefully you guys could
kind of hear when the notes were meshing together, and when dissonance resolves into consonance, it's a pretty like if we had done this if we had musical instruments and I had the left side, you know, play an instrument and then the right side play the note above, it would have resolved into a really distinctive, like satisfactory feel. Okay, so I just wanted to end by talking a bit about what this all means to me. And so the reason why I started exploring more into, you know, why music produced emotion was because I started playing at retirement homes in high school. And so I'd go to these retirement homes, and a lot of the seniors there have, you know, degenerative disorders like, you know, dementia, Alzheimer's, just general memory loss. And I found that when I played a song for them, or I did a performance, a lot of times after the performance, they would come up to me and be like, oh, you know, that song, it reminded me of my daughter's wedding, or it reminded me of, you know, my son's graduation. And it really struck a chord with me because it made me feel like music was reaching beyond these, you know, this memory loss that they had, or music would reach beyond their dementia, and it could bring up memories from their past that they previously would never have visited, and they're happy memories. And so as someone who's aspiring to go to medicine in the future, it gave me hope that maybe music has a place in medicine and healing, maybe in, you know, treating mental disorders in the future. And so my very last slide is a cartoon. I start every song by counting 1, 2, 3, 4 because it reminds me of math. Math depresses me and it helps me sing the blues. So, thank you.